EFF by names. There are young comrades and young revolutionaries across Africa who are pleased to be a member of the EFF, but they lack the technical skills to be able to communicate the message of the EFF. If we do not train them and we do not guide them, Commander-in-Chief, the vision of having EFF across Africa will not survive because of the lack of training. So as you and members of the leadership go to the MPA and you elect new leaders, I want you to make it a priority that the next agenda of the EFF will focus on training, not just to raise resources for EFF, but to focus on training of the members so that together we can be able to organize the revolution in such a way that we give the impact that is needed. We want to say thank you for the opportunity. We will always respect this institution and live by the commitment of the institution. I want to close by saying next year, the Liberian Economic Freedom Fighter for the first time will be having an MPA. We will also be participating in the midterm senatorial elections, and we can assure you that we will win and you will see us in parliament next year. Thank you, and let God bless you. Let God bless Africa. Thank you.
Mandla, viva EFF Liberia, viva! Forward to the NPA in Liberia, forward! Forward to elections victory in Liberia, forward! Mandla! Thank you very much, National Convener of the EFF in Liberia. And now I'm going to call the EFF in Namibia. We're going to call the leadership there, and we must congratulate the EFF in Namibia because they got 2 seats in the national parliament in the recent past elections. And speaking on behalf of the EFF in Namibia is Kalimbo Impumba, is the national coordinator. Fighter Impumba.
Amandra! Amandra! Awetu! Honorable Speaker, Chairperson, I want at least 2 minutes with the delegates. I want us to chant on something that the Namibian people are waiting come March 2020. You know, corruption is the root or is the cause of evil everywhere. And Namibia is finding itself in a way that corruption is valued at the highest degree. So can we stand up and chant to this down corruption? I see sometimes when we do it slowly, it seems people are not listening. I think I'm going to show it the Namibian way, how we are going to do it. So let's go together. Down corruption, down. You see, when I say down corruption, down, you continue down. Down corruption, 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 down. Amandra! Amandra! Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Firstly, may I recognize the protocol observed and indeed salute the CIC, Julius Hello Malema, and Deputy President Floyd Shivambu. A strong and formidable, unshaken organization. It is seen through its organizational structures, which comprehended by the followers. I'm very much delighted to give the message of support from the files and ranks of Namibia economic freedom fighters, and particularly the EFF political parties, formed in the continent of Africa, emulating the economic freedom fighters of South Africa. Comrade Julius and Floyd, the world is watching today, watching with the interest of seeing one thing, that in which or whose generation will African men and women will unite to fight for one cause. The practicality of presenting and spearheading the ideology of economic liberation is about to unite Africa. And this alone has simplified your core values and the entire membership of EFF in South Africa. We have learned in your leadership style, comrade, and our pronunciation of being radical movements, which characterize the working class and the poor, speaks volumes in African politics today. The good objectives and foremost efficient and effective leadership elevate the enthusiasm to have NEF formed in Namibia in 2014. We won the political elites in Namibia that now is the time for economic freedom. They thought we were just chanting and playing. And today, as we are talking, we are to have 2 seats to be sworn in Parliament come March 2020. That is a signal, Comrade Juju. That is the signal. You see that we are penetrating. The signal is there. Now we are showing you the signal. Comrade Floyd, the signal is there. As we are standing in here today, I'm delighted again to see the formation of the economic freedom fighters in Zimbabwe. We have Comrade Innocent Timbali. He is among us from Zimbabwe. We have the comrade from Liberia, the economic freedom fighters from Liberia, Malawi, Uganda, Lesotho, and many more in the pipelines. Indeed, the signal, Comrade Juju, is still there. The signal is there. A united Africa Kwame Nkrumah had been talking about. African politics will never be the same again. Therefore, it is of these political synonyms of EFF of South Africa to adamantly stick to its fundamental goals and perspective for us to unite Africa and do away with colonial borders. Members of the EFF of South Africa, salutation to you all for the effort you made to keep this movement in sequence. It's because of you Juju is still standing strong, and we need to continue keeping him strong and give him the proper leadership to head the organization to its victory. Fighters, with these few words, fellow fighters, Namibia is well, despite the political challenge and corruption measured at the highest degree. From this juncture, I, on behalf of Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters and other political parties, wish to extend our gratitude to be here and share to the benefit of South Africa, countrymen and women, and Africa at large. We shall overcome it one day. Amandla! Amandla! Awetu! Thank you very much.
Down corruption, down. 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 Amanda! Thank you very much, National Coordinator of the EFF in Namibia. We'll give him a bit more time because he's also the Honorable Member of Parliament there in Namibia. representing the economic freedom fighters. Now, fighters who are going to call the leadership from Swaziland, from Eswatini. We're a bit uncomfortable with this Eswatini name because the king just named it one day. He woke up in the morning and said, no, now we're called Eswatini. It's a progressive name because it speaks to us. So I want to call the president of the People's Democratic Movement, Mlungisi Makhanya, to come and give a message of support. Comrade, Commissar Mlungisi Makhanya, the president of Pudemo.
Amandla! Amandla! Long live the economic freedom fighters, long live! Long live EFF, long live! My cool EFF, my cool! Amandla! Thank you very much, comrades. Comrade President and Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Comrade Julius Malema. Comrade Chairperson and Comrade Deputy Chairperson and the entire leadership of the Economic Freedom Fighters. We once again want to take this opportunity, comrades, to thank you for allowing us to be part of your assembly. When you invited us 5 years ago in Mangaung, Commander-in-Chief, this is what we said. We said the history of the continent will never be the same again. We are happy that 5 years later, indeed, the people of the continent look up to you, Commander-in-Chief, as the leader of the Pan-African movement struggles in the entire continent. At a time when our people are suffering under the yoke of dictatorship of a monarchy who has completely forgotten about the plight of the people and amassed the resources for himself. And at a time, Commander-in-Chief, when there is a vulgarization of the mantra of African solution to African continent, you refuse to join those who want to be revisionists and want to say African solutions to African problems must mean embracing feudal dictators who do not care about their people. It is exactly your determination that continue to give us hope as the people of Swaziland, that indeed we will one day, like the rest of the people of the continent, be a free nation. We want to say, Commander-in-Chief, as we conclude, as Pudemo, we look forward to join the progressive left Pan-African movement you spoke to. And we fully embrace the principles as suggested. We want to wish you, comrades, a successful conference. Amandla!
Thank you very much, Comrade President of Pudemo. We were meant to be joined by the former president of Pudemo, Mario Masuku, and there's a commitment that he will later on join this conference. Viva Mario Masuku, viva! Comrades, we are now going to call a speaker from Zimbabwe. We're going to call one of our own, a friend of the economic freedom fighters. He's a former minister in different portfolios under the government of President R.G. Mugabe. He is known as Tyson Wabantu in Zimbabwe. And his name is Xavier Kasukwere. Comrade Xavier Kasukwere, the chance is yours to give the message of support.
Thank you very much. Amandla. Amandla. Viva EFF, viva. Viva President Julius Malema, viva. Thank you, comrades. Thank you very much, Deputy President, President and CIC, Comrade Julius Malema, and the esteemed leadership of the EFF, international delegates, fellow comrades and friends who are here. First and foremostly, on behalf of my colleagues from Zimbabwe, I want, and also on behalf of my colleague, Comrade Joao, would like to say to you, Comrade Julius, thank you very much for the support you have rendered to the family of President R.G. Mugabe. Your invitation today, Comrade Malema, to us, we come here with tears in our eyes. We lost a father, a revolutionary, a Pan-Africanist, a man who believed that as Africans we must be masters of our destiny. In you we find a man who learned a lot from R.G. Mugabe, and a man who is fearless and bold, who wants to see Africa change. Your statements, Comrade Chairman, Comrade President, this morning, in your political report, clearly, for us who are here, we are now entering a new dawn in Africa. Africa can only change if its children are fearless and bold. Comrade Chairman, Comrade President Julius Malema, we don't forget that it is here again in Soweto where you organized the first memorial service for Comrade R.G. Mugabe. And I also want to thank the African National Congress who followed after the EFF had shown us the way. And I also want to thank the people of South Africa for giving that befitting send-off to the son of the soil, Comrade R.G. Mugabe. It is here again in Soweto where we are gathered to hear these bold declarations. It is time for Africa to do away with the passports. We agree with you, Comrade CIC. I hope and trust that one of these good days, we must be rebellious enough to embark on a journey across Africa from Cape to Cairo without passports. Let's see who will arrest us, and let's see how long we're going to stay in those prisons, because certain things must be brought down. An African child must be free in Africa. An African child must do what he wants in Africa. This is what the EFF stands for. Comrade CIC, allow me also to challenge the foundation of this very important organization. We now must move forward. You have acquired substantial political power. But like Nkrumah said, seek here the kingdom, the political kingdom. It's not enough. We now want total economic freedom for the people of Africa. The main reason why people rally behind the EFF is you have started moving in the direction that everyone is expecting. Mr. President, we will concentrate on political reports, but going forward, I think it is the economy that must worry us. We must keep in check the leadership of our countries. Half the time, we are spending a lot of time plotting against one another. How do I bring Julius Malema down? How do I bring Floyd Chivambo down? How do I do this? Yet we are ignoring the poverty in our society. The enemy is not Julius Malema. The enemy is poverty in Africa. The enemy is unemployment in Africa. The enemy is disease and hunger in Africa. And EFF. Comrade Julius, let's move in that direction. Next time we come for the 3rd Congress, we want to be hearing reports of how much we have moved in the mining sector. How many blacks are now running or owning mines in Africa? Comrade Julius, a hungry people can never be governed. And this is the challenge that is facing many liberation movements in Africa. I can give an example of my country, Zimbabwe. The objective when they formed and started the movement, They formed a military wing called Zanla and Zipra. Those combatants have not put the guns down. We are still in that liberation period, but we have not transformed to talk about the economic empowerment. As the cake gets smaller and smaller, the one with the gun will start saying, now you want to eat too much, let me shoot you. We must arrest this one, he's making too much noise. The gun has now become an instrument to suppress the majority of our people. Can't we focus on growing the cake, on growing our economy, get our people into mining, get our people into agriculture, get our people to become masters of their own destiny? These are the benchmarks, Comrade Malema, that must now define us. We have done enough politics, but of necessity, these politics must lead us now into total control of our economy. Why do we arrange investment conferences the world over? Some comrades have to travel in hired planes with plates full of mazondo and so forth, chewing them and eating them as they travel. And you ask yourself, what are you going to do there that you can't do here? Let's bring our people together to work for our countries and for our people. That is the first investment we must direct ourselves to. Africa runs after those colonial powers. You are asking somebody who had colonized yesterday to say, come and help me to develop my country. Do you think he'll come? I want to see Comrade Malema as a multi-billionaire. I want to see billionaires coming out of these young people in the EFF. Comrade Julius, our struggle in Zimbabwe is only just about to begin. We cannot any longer tolerate the nonsense that is happening. The pain in our people is too much. Queues day in and out. Our people are running South Africa, and we thank you for your stance against xenophobia. It is a fact. Thousands of our people are here. They have no papers. That humiliation of living in a country without that support is too much. And I hope and trust that as Zimbabweans, we must take the bull by the horns. It's not about enmity. It's about correcting comrades who have gone wayward. They want more money. They want more riches. They have lost the direction of the revolution. When they meet, hear their resolutions. None of the resolutions make sense. People are talking about, well, what can I do? What can I get? Push government to do that. Yet they have no basis upon which to move forward. Comrade Julius, I know wherever the old man is, he is saying, Malema, go on and move forward. Thank you very much, comrades.
Mandla Rotendas Vikuru Kasukwere. So in Shona, when you say thank you, you say Rotendas Vikuru. In Swahili, you say Asante Sana. So thank you very much, Comrade Tyson, Comrade Teve Kasukwere. Before we call the next round of messages of support, we want to acknowledge the EFF leadership in Zimbabwe, led by the national convener. The Zimbabwe delegation can stand up to wave. And want to acknowledge the EFF Malawi, led by the convener in Malawi. Can stand up and raise your hand. And also want to acknowledge the EFF Lesotho. They've just started now, but there is too much excitement in Lesotho in terms of work of the EFF there. Comrades, the next speaker that we're going to call is a ground force of the revolution. It's a ground force in the war for economic freedom. And just to give you a brief history is that we met on the trenches in 2012 when the commander-in-chief was in Marikana after the ANC government had killed workers there. In the first memorial service that was organized there, the main speakers was the commander-in-chief Julius Malema and the president of AMCU, Joseph Matunjwa. So we're going to call him to come and give the message of support. In the platinum belt is called Bwebindlala. Is the one who defeats hunger. The president of AMCU, Comrade Joseph Matunjwa. The platform is yours. Mandla! Viva AMCU, viva! Viva AMCU, viva! Viva Basebenzi, viva! Comrade Matunjwa.
Thank you. Amandla. Maibuye Africa, maibuye. Maubuye umnotho weAfrica, maubuye. Qina EFF, qina. Bashise EFF, bashise. Siyabulela, siyabulela. Message of support from Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union to the National Assembly of Economic Freedom Fighters. Commander-in-Chief, Comrade Julius Malema, distinguished guests and VIPs, comrades, all protocol observe. As President of AMCO, I greet you on behalf of the National Council of the Association of Mine Workers and its members in general. It must be said that the EFF was established exactly the right time in South Africa. The frustration of the people of our country was mounting, and the hopelessness of the most vulnerable ones in society was reaching the boiling point. EFF, never underestimate yourself. You have saved South Africa from itself. You provided a platform and a channel by which the frustration could be voiced and the feelings of the masses of South Africa. This Congress should be a reflection. You must never forget where we come from and how we came into existence. The EFF, there are numerous parallels between the EFF and AMCO. Both leaders were kicked out from their comfortable zone of the tripartite alliance. Comrade Julius, we can ask yourself today, where are your detractors when they were saying EFF will never see another day? We are living in the trying times where we battle to keep the heads above water. Many predicted that this organization will be thrown in the desert where there will be no water to drink, to squash the revolutionary thirst. But today we are here in the second assembly of the EFF. Similarly, EFF sprouted growth from frustration and the yearning for the better life of the majority of the South African. This shows us that the like-minded, if we can work together, we can make a difference in our country and in the continent. We know it remains a challenge, but we first need to know who we are before we can take a rightful position as the people of the country and the continent. Not as the robots remote controlled by other foreign forces, as we were made for them and for them alone. As if we are tools in their hands, and if only we exist to make them rich on the back of our sweat and tears. No, we must be born again, comrades, not physically, but in mind and spirit. Not just in the physical sense, but also in the Creator's image. We are created to be free. We are not created to be the slaves of other nations. We were given dominion and power to control ourselves and to take a rightful position on the planet Earth. Not that we are created in the image of other races. God never created a white man or a black man, nor an Indian nor a colored, but he created a person in his image to have dominion. So we cannot allow to have other nations to have dominion on us and exploit our resources in the expense of democracy. The democracy that we see today has been hijacked by the weak leaders, of which the democracy has become a yoke in our necks. So EFF, we are in a better position today to liberate Africa, to liberate South Africa, and to take the baton and we move forward. You are the fire. The colors of your red shows that you are the fire. If the fire burns, it changes everything. Something green must be grown up. I give you the best, of this Congress. May the God, Lord, give you and guide you and elect not the egocentric leaders, but the leaders that will direct South Africa and take it into the right platform. May the God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to take it.
Viva President Mathunjwa, viva! Viva AMCU, viva! Pansi Ramaphosa, Pansi! Pansi Ramaphosa, Pansi! Amanda! Away, two! Thank you very much, President of AMCU. Comrades, the next speaker we're going to call has been in the revolution for a very long time. We have fought side by side. In the past, we were fighting against the 1996 class project, only to replace it with something else elsewhere. And then when that was replaced with, was even a bigger problem. And he became a victim of the then former organization called COSATU. I'm now introducing to you the last General Secretary of COSATU, the current General Secretary of SAFTU, Comrade Zelinzi Mavavi. Viva Vavi, viva!
Matla, away two, Matla, Aruna, Matimba, Aina, Manda, Asu, all power to the working class. All power, all power. Long live the EFF, long live. Thank you, Comrade Deputy President Floyd Shivambo. President, I've refused to call him anything else. President, I'm still sticking to the line. The last democratically elected president of another organization that used to be so powerful. And he had, in return, refused to call me anything. The last democratically elected General Secretary of the once powerful formation. And the top six, the leadership, the Central Command, and all of you, dear leaders, and now you are not leaders here, you are delegates. We are very happy to be here, comrades, and to be received in the manner that you have received us. We coming from a very young organization of just over 2 years now. It's an organization founded on principles that are not dissimilar to those that have created EFF. But above all that, we are an independent organization, but that is not class neutral, that is not apolitical. And that's why we are very at ease to be amongst you, the revolutionaries and the ground forces of the EFF. So I bring you revolutionary greetings, which are socialist-laced from SAFTU. And best wishes to all of you, and may you have a successful Congress until you conclude your business on the 16th, that historic day. Second thing I wanted to say, comrades, briefly, and I don't want to steal anything from what Julius have said. We want to express our gratitude and we want to remind you of the real potential that exists in our country if we were to forge unity between the independent trade union movement and the EFF. And I've expressed this, everybody knows what I'm going to say. Thank you very much for the victory at the Wits University that saw the insourcing of workers at even higher wages. And thank you very much that those workers today have overalls. Do you know how important it is to wear an overall when you used to work on your own clothes? Thank you very much for the victories at UNISA. Thank you very much for the victories at the TUT. I can go on and count also the victory in Johannesburg Metropolitan. I wonder kuzokwenzeka ntoni ngoku Thixo wami. This is, comrade, very important and underline how important and how big the potential can be if we were to suppress all these other things and forge unity of the left forces, of the socialist forces in our country. And Comrade President was correct. The trade union movement fought and fought and fought for many years to get the workers insourced. You came to the fore in just 6 years of existence. We now can count genuine and real benefits for workers on the ground. And my last point, after thanking you, comrades, I want to land on this issue of unity. Comrades, we are under siege. We are taking such a beating from the capitalist class and its state. We are seeing levels of unemployment that we have not heard of in our history. We're seeing youth disappearing and lost the entire generations to drugs and booze. 58% of them are unemployed. 47% of the African black women are unemployed. 63% of our population live in poverty. We pick up 57 bodies in our country every day in our streets as a result of the violence targeted against everybody, including women and children, the most vulnerable sections of our communities. What we cannot afford to do as the left is to grow big egos that will stop us from reaching out to one another and holding hands with one another in a common struggle to change our situation in this country. SAFTU started very, very well in 2018, and once again, your presence in that march on the 25th of April was so obvious. But we went into a lull because of our own internal battles and issues. We are now beyond them. We're coming out of the Central Committee. We want to make 2020 as the year where the left forces in this country should form a single devastating movement to put a stop to the nonsense that is unfolding in this country. You know, Comrade Julius, a few weeks ago I get told that the IMF says South Africa is the 6th wealthiest country in the world. And I said, nonsense. But I remember, oh, hold on. They are counting the mines. They are counting the most beautiful land. They are counting their banks. They are counting the trucks that are moving that economy into the nearest harbors for it to make and create jobs elsewhere. They are counting the wines that arrive in Europe that comes out of our land. They are counting the wealth that is occupied by the less than 1% of the population. And yet, if you look at the other statistics from the ILO, already 15 years ago, they are saying this rich and wealthy country has the 6th worst unemployment rate in the entire world. Next year, comrades, let's start with the sauna and do a small jab there to Ramaphosa. Secondly, let's do a bigger punch when that budget that is going to represent the worst attack on the working class and the living standards of the poor, when Tito Mboweni reads that neoliberal austerity budget. And thirdly, by April, May, comrades, this is my plea, let's occupy every city in this country. Let's start with Johannesburg and put it on ice for 3 days and make the demands that are part of your 7 cardinal demands, which serve to support. Let's demand our land now. Let's demand jobs for our young people now. Let's demand an end to violence directed against our women and children now. Let's demand that the inequalities that have made us to be the worst country with so many inequalities be ended now. And above all, let's demand that Ramaphosa be placed on jail where he belongs, together with the other looters who will continue to live from the sweat and toiling of our masses in our country. Thank you very much. Good luck, comrades, in your Congress. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Amanda! Forward to socialist working class unity, forward. Forward to 20-year, the year of militancy of the working class, forward. Amanda! Away, 2. Thank you very much, General Secretary of SAF2. I'm sure that this NPA is going to deliberate on the very progressive recommendations that are consistent with our agenda and resolve on them. And thank you very much to all the messages of support that have been given here. Comrades, we have received a lot of messages of support from different parts of the world and of the continent. And we have received messages of support domestically from our friends, from those that could not make it here. But there is a specific message that we are going to read so that it is placed on record of the second NPA of the EFF. It is a message from the Zinzi Mandela Foundation. And it reads as thus, that the Zinzi Mandela Foundation sends revolutionary well wishes to the EFF ahead of the National People's Assembly. The Zinzi Mandela Foundation wishes the economic freedom fighters every success in its second elective conference, the National People's Assembly, which is to take place this weekend. In the short space since the establishment of the EFF, it has played a major role in changing South Africa's political landscape. The young party has grown in leaps and bounds in numbers, but what will be of paramount importance during this weekend's proceedings It's a review of the impact the revolutionary fighters have made in contributing to legislation and to the material conditions of the black majority of this country, who are the poorest of the poor. Whatever the outcome of that review, we as the Zinzi Mandela Foundation are hopeful that the EFF will find solutions to accelerating its strategic objectives of reversing 100 years of brutal oppression. Best wishes from the CEO of the Zinzi Mandela Foundation. We thank the Zinzi Mandela Foundation for that message. Viva Zinzi Mandela, viva! Long live the fighting spirit of Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, long live! Amanda! Away, two! Thank you very much, comrades. We are done with this section of the messages of support. And in terms of the agenda, we're going to hand over now to the Deputy Secretary General to give us the credentials of this National People's Assembly. And then thereafter, the National Chairperson will come back to guide the other part of this particular assembly. DSG.
Amandla, Amandla, long live EFF, long live. Thank you very much, Deputy President, President, Delegate. I'm here to present credentials to this second National People's Assemblies as follows. Per province, Eastern Cape,